Nobody in Glasgow saw it coming. Not the fans, not the city, not even Kendrick's own crew. But what happened last night on the Grand National Tour stage didn't just change the energy. It rewired Glasgow's entire identity at exactly 9:46 p.m. Kendrick Lamar paused the show and broke the fourth wall. What he said, what he did, left fans crying, others screaming, and the rest frozen in total shock. Phones dropped, fan fainted. Security rushed in and outside the stadium. A riot of emotions. Because Kendrick didn't just perform, he exposed something the city thought it had buried. And now, Glasgow is trending #1 worldwide. For reasons nobody can believe. But here's the wildest part. It wasn't even in the setlist, this moment. This act of defiance. This raw, unfiltered confession. It was unscripted, unapproved, and completely unforgettable. So what did Kendrick say? Why did the cameras cut during the live feed? And who's now trying to silence him? You're about to find out. But be warned. Once you know the truth, you'll never hear Kendrick Lamar the same way again. For most people, Kendrick Lamar is just a rapper. A lyrical genius, sure, but still just an artist on tour. But for those who really know his work, his presence is much deeper, much heavier, because Kendrick doesn't just perform, he disrupts. And when it comes to Glasgow, Scotland, let's just say there's history. You see, this wasn't Kendrick's first time in the city. He performed here back in 2018 during the DAMN tour. That night ended in cheers. But under the surface, something didn't sit right with him. Sources close to Kendrick say he left feeling disconnected. The crowd was loud, yes, but the energy? Off, he later told a magazine, quietly. Off the record, it felt like I was being watched, not heard. And ever since Glasgow became a city he avoided. A city with a reputation, not just for its wild shows and riotous crowds, but for its tense cultural undercurrents. What kind of undercurrents? Well, here's the thing most fans don't know. In the years between Kendrick's last visit and now, Glasgow has been the center of multiple viral incidents involving race, surveillance, and social suppression. From police brutality scandals, swept under the rug, to cultural institutions quietly blacklisting voices that spoke too loud. Too raw, it's a city where protest art is removed faster than graffiti. And where underground movements have started calling Glasgow the silent city. So when Kendrick Lamar announced he was bringing his Grand National Tour back to this very place, the streets reacted differently. Some cheered. Some warned him not to come. One anonymous tweet went viral a week before the show. Glasgow's been trying to forget 2018. Kendrick's about to remind them why they can't. But Kendrick, he didn't flinch. Insiders say the planning for this stop was heavily guarded. No press was allowed backstage. Rehearsals were closed. And the set list, he kept changing it. Even his own DJ told a radio station, he's moving. Like something's about to go down. We just don't know what. And then there's the strange detail most fans missed. On the morning of the Glasgow show, Kendrick was spotted walking alone through the Gorbals, a historic working class neighborhood known for resistance, rebellion, and secrets. A local activist shared a now-deleted photo of Kendrick speaking with two older residents, captioned, "He wasn't here for photos. He was here for answers." Answers to what? That's where the mystery begins. Rumors began swirling in. Underground blogs that Kendrick had discovered something connected to a former political prisoner in Scotland, who once wrote to him from jail. The letter, allegedly found by Kendrick's team in his old fan mail archive, detailed how your words reached us even when our own were censored. That prisoner died mysteriously in 2019, and Kendrick never replied. Until now. So when Kendrick walked on stage in Glasgow's packed Hydro Arena last night, he wasn't just walking into another performance, he was walking into a confrontation with a city a memory and a past that never healed. The crowd, over 14,000 strong, was buzzing with electricity. Phones were up. Everyone expected bangers. Lyrics may be a surprise feature, but what they got was a message. One that was never printed on merch, never posted on social media, and never cleared by his team, because halfway through his set, right before "All Right," Kendrick stopped everything. He looked into the crowd, dead silence. No beat, no background, no flashing lights, just him, one mic, one city, and then he said, "Some of y'all came for music, but I came back for justice. I came back for the man they erased. And I'm not leaving until the truth is heard." Gasps, screams, security looking around in panic. That name, that man they erased. No one knew who he was talking about. But what happened next would uncover a secret Glasgow had buried for years, and Kendrick Lamar wasn't going to let it stay buried. For exactly 6 seconds after Kendrick's statement, the arena was dead silent. Not a cheer, not a whisper. Just the sound of 14,000 people collectively holding their breath. And then, boom, a single spotlight hit the center of the stage. Behind Kendrick, the giant screen, which had been looping visuals from past shows, suddenly cut to black dot, then ... It flickered back on. But this wasn't tour footage. This was security. Cam footage, grainy, black and white. Timestamped, June 14th, 2018. The crowd began murmuring. Phones shot up again. People zoomed in. The clip showed a young black man being forcibly removed from outside the very arena they were standing in now. Tackled, dragged, screaming. You could barely hear the audio. But one thing was unmistakable. He was yelling, tell Kendrick, they shut me down." And just as the crowd gasped, the screen cut again. Kendrick turned back to the mic and said, "He tried to speak here. They silenced him here. And then they erased him. But I still hear him." The crowd went wild, screaming, cheering, some crying. But not everyone was happy. Security at the venue immediately started scrambling. 2 men in suits were seen approaching the sound booth. Staffers ran backstage. It was clear. This wasn't part of the show. Kendrick had hijacked his own set, and that's when things took a darker turn, just as All Right was about to begin. The audio feed cut out. For 16 seconds, the entire arena sat in silence again. No music, no Kendrick, just confusion. Then, out of nowhere, the mic crackled back on. Kendrick stepped forward, and what he said next set the internet on fire. They're trying to shut it down again. But this ain't 2018. I brought receipts. This time, receipts. That's when a second video began playing on the screen. This time, a hidden interview filmed in a dim-lit apartment. Kendrick was sitting across from an older Scottish man, tattooed, shaking, and crying. The man's face was blurred, but the captions told the story. "I worked security at this venue. We were told not to let him speak. They knew he had something real, and they disappeared him." The crowd, absolutely stunned. Some fans were crying. Others were yelling at security. A group near the barricades held up signs that read, "Justice for the Forgotten." Because now people were connecting the dots. That footage from 2018. The man in the video, his name was Sean Kearns, an activist, a poet, a former inmate. A man who, according to underground circles, had been writing letters to Kendrick from prison for years. Letters full of verses. Trauma, truth. Letters Kendrick had never seen until recently. But here's the wildest part. Sean vanished just days after. Kendrick's 2018 show, no headlines, no investigation, no protests, just gone and now. Kendrick was using his grand national tour to tell the world, "You erased a man from history. I'm putting him back." But the twist, it gets deeper, because right after the video ended, a QR code flashed on screen for only 12 seconds. Most people missed it, but some scanned it. And what it linked to? A hidden website called the Glasgow Files. The page was plain. Fans lost it. On Twitter, the hashtag #WhoIsSeanKearns began trending globally. Reddit detectives started unearthing old blog posts, zines, and prison newsletters from 2015 to 2019. Many referencing Sean as a radical thinker whose work was too dangerous to publish. And now Kendrick had put his name in front of the entire world. But not everyone was on board. Just 30 minutes into the show, the venue's management tried to shut it down. Screens were turned off. House lights flicked. The stage crew was told to wrap it. But Kendrick, he refused. He walked to the edge of the stage, looked directly into the front row, and said, "You see this light? You feel this moment. They're scared of it. That's why they want to end it. But I didn't come here to perform. I came here to testify." And then the music returned. But it wasn't a hit. It wasn't even from Damn, Mr. Morale, or To Pimp a Butterfly. It was an unreleased track, and the lyrics, they weren't just rhymes. They were Sean's words, turned into a song. Bars never broke me. Isolation made me louder. My silence was protest. But now I speak prouder. The entire arena was shaking. The crowd rapped along like it was gospel. People were waving shirts, flags, fists. This wasn't a concert anymore. This was a revolution. And just when you thought the night had reached its climax, Kendrick stopped again and delivered the line that would haunt Glasgow forever. "This ain't my final show. This is just the beginning." Because Sean wasn't the only one. And I have more names, more disappearances, more truths buried beneath the lights of entertainment. The screen cut to black. The lights shut off. The show was over, but the story just getting started. By the time Kendrick's tour bus pulled out of Glasgow at 2:38 a.m., the internet was already in full meltdown. #WhoIsSeanKearns, #Kendrick knows, #the Glasgow Files, all trending globally. But what began as a protest performance had now ignited a wildfire no one could contain. BBC called it the most politically dangerous concert of the decade. Rolling Stone tweeted, "Kendrick Lamar's Glasgow show wasn't music, it was evidence." The Guardian's headline screamed, "Lamar targets UK government in explosive Glasgow set, demands truth for erased activist." Meanwhile, government officials were scrambling. Glasgow City Council issued a dry, frantic statement. The city remains committed to transparency and the safety of its citizens. Mr. Kearns' case is a matter of historical interest, and no wrongdoing has ever been officially recorded. But Twitter wasn't buying it. People began digging hard. Old records, archived court documents, footage from anti-police brutality protests between 2017 and 2019. And sure enough, Sean Kearns' name kept popping up, always just out of frame. Never quoted, never acknowledged, but always there. A Reddit user posted, "They didn't delete him. They ghosted him. They made him invisible." And then came the second twist, the one nitrogen monoxide one was ready for. At 6:04 p.m., just 16 hours after the show ended, a new post dropped on the Glasgow Files site. Title, "The Letter Kendrick Never Read Until Now." And it included a full high-resolution scan of a handwritten letter, dated May 28, 2017, written by Sean Kearns. Addressed to Mr. Kendrick Lamar, Duckworth, Los Angeles, California Re. If you're reading this, I still believe we exist. The letter, chilling. Sean wrote, Your lyrics found me in a 6x8 cell where the radio barely worked, but your voice did. You reminded me that rage isn't shameful. That being black, being poor, being furious isn't a crime. They've taken my notebooks. They've taken my voice. I might disappear next. But if I do, tell the world I was here. I was here, Kendrick. I was here. And at the bottom, scrawled in ink, if Glasgow silences me, make it loud. That line alone became the rally cry. Hashtag make it, loud posted, shared, painted on walls, printed on signs. Within hours, fans in London, Paris, and even New York began gathering outside Kendrick's next tour stop, all demanding answers about Sean. Kearns, Dot, and Kendrick, still silent. His socials, dead. No tweet. No statement. No post, but insiders say his team was in lockdown mode. One assistant leaked a voice note saying he's not scared. He's planning something bigger. This ain't just a one-night stand. This is war. And just when fans thought things couldn't escalate more, the UK Home Office issued a formal advisory warning Lamar's team that his next show in London may require enhanced vetting due to political sensitivities. Translation: they're scared, but they should be, because fans weren't just watching. They were mobilizing by day 2. Over 92 murals of Sean Kearns had been painted across Glasgow. By day 3, over 400,000 signatures were collected, demanding an official inquiry into Sean's disappearance. And by day 4, a former MP from Scotland came forward claiming she was pressured to stay silent about Kearns' case in 2019. She tweeted, "We were told he's not worth the trouble." Kendrick just proved he was worth a revolution. Meanwhile, a secret journalist group called Archive 12 published a dossier claiming that Kearns was being surveilled by MI5. In the months before his disappearance, the documents suggest he was flagged after giving a controversial poetry reading. He was denied multiple publishing deals due to subversive themes. He was labeled an instigator of potential social unrest. And the final page, marked classified, black outlines covering names and details. But one phrase is still readable. Target believed to be radicalizing youth through rhythmic expression. Neutralize message before amplification. Rhythmic expression. They didn't say poetry. They didn't say protest. They called it a threat. And Kendrick? He amplified it anyway. But here's where the second twist rips everything open. Because someone, an anonymous source, using the name Ascara Turns, posted a 13-second video clip on Telegram. In it, a man seated in a shadowy room whispers, "They tried to erase me, but art leaves footprints. I'm not gone. I'm just ... waiting." His face is never shown. His voice distorted. But fans are convinced. Sean Kearns is alive. Within hours, the internet split in two. Those who think Sean faked his death and is staging his return through Kendrick Lamar. Those who believe it's a hoax to stir the flames, but Kendrick's silence is only feeding the suspense. His next show, London 2, 48 hours away. The city is bracing. Security has tripled. Drones are being flown over the venue. Protesters and fans alike are lining up already. And yet, Kendrick hasn't canceled. He hasn't backed down. He's preparing for round 2. But there's one last layer. Fans notice something new added to Kendrick's merch site. A single new t-shirt. No colors. Just bold white text. "I was here. SK only 500 available. Sold out in 17 minutes. So what does it all mean? Is Kendrick now the voice of ghosts? Is he preparing to uncover an entire system of suppression using art, music, and global platforms? Or is this all leading to something much darker? Something no one saw coming. And by the time Kendrick Lamar's silence stretched past 72 hours, it wasn't silence anymore. It was power. weaponized, electrified. Viral. In Glasgow, murals of Sean Kearns became sacred ground. People left candles, books, notebooks. One fan taped a handwritten note to a wall that read, "You weren't just erased, Sean. You were buried alive. We're digging you out." Across the UK, protests spread like wildfire. In London, hundreds gathered outside Parliament Square wearing shirts that said, "I was here." In Bristol, an entire crowd marched in rhythm, chanting Sean's words, "They call us shadows, but even shadows prove the sun exists." Social media. Unhinged.tiktok exploded with creators doing breakdowns of every lyric from Kendrick's unreleased track. One creator posted a theory that went viral. If Kendrick's been decoding hidden messages this whole time, we've been sleeping. DNA. That wasn't just about genetics. That was a warning. Sponsors are panicking. A major luxury brand pulled out of Kendrick's upcoming Paris performance. A streaming service temporarily paused all Kendrick-related promo. But Tidal doubled down, releasing a playlist titled Voices. They tried to silence, curated by Kendrick Lamar. At the same time, activist movements are evolving. A new group called SK24 formed within 48 hours of the Glasgow show. Their manifesto: "We are the echoes. We are the receipts. We are what happens when art tells truth louder than law." Chapters already exist in Glasgow, London, Amsterdam, Johannesburg, Chicago. They're planning something big. Posters appeared in train stations across the UK with a date: August 7th. The erase ends. What's happening on August 7th? No one knows, but the hype is unreal. Meanwhile, Kendrick, still absolutely silent. No interviews, no apologies, no confirmations, just one update. A blurry image posted on his website. It showed a typewriter, a glass of scotch, and a notebook with 3 letters written in pen. SK2. Fans think it means Sean Kearns Part 2. A sequel, a second name, a second story. But then came the most surreal twist of the reactions. A former intelligence officer, now turned whistleblower, appeared on an anonymous podcast, and his words: "If Kendrick's information is real, he's not just disrupting art. He's cracking open surveillance history buried by 6 different departments," he continued. "This isn't about one man. It's about the system we built to make sure people like him never got a mic." The host asked, "So you're saying this goes deeper than Sean Kearns?" The reply: "You have no idea how deep." Mic drop. Comment section flooded. Reddit exploded with threads titled, "How many Sean Kearns have there been?" The Kendrick Files. Who's next? What if Sean Kearns never died? Now people aren't just reacting. They're preparing for what? No one knows. But Kendrick's next show in London is expected to draw over 20,000 people outside the arena. Without tickets, they're not there for music. They're there for truth. One fan summed it up best in a video now looping on TikTok. "We came for bars. We got battle cries. And Kendrick isn't our headliner anymore. He's the narrator of everything they tried to bury. It was supposed to be over." Kendrick had made his point. Sean Kearns had been resurrected. The internet was on fire. The movement had begun. But Kendrick wasn't done, because just 12 hours before his next show in London, something unexpected happened. An anonymous Dropbox link leaked. No sender, no source, just one message attached. Sean wasn't the only one they erased. Kendrick found the second file, and it's worse. The file, a 7-minute audio recording, dark, grainy, laced with static. But the voice is undeniably female. Shaken, whispering, but clear. "My name was never on the records. I never made the list. But I was there the night they took Sean. I was the one who recorded the poem. And I've been hiding ever since." She never says her name, but she drops a bomb. There was more than one tape. Kendrick doesn't just have Sean's voice. He has mine too. And if he plays it in London, everything changes. Fans immediately began asking, who is this woman? Why was she hiding? And what's on that second tape? Within hours, the theory train took off. People started calling her Echo, because if Sean was the voice, they silenced. She's the voice that survived. And then, as the rumor storm surged, Kendrick's official tour website quietly updated. A single video, no title, no description. Just Kendrick walking into an empty theater. He places a cassette into an old recorder, presses play, then stares straight into the camera. No sound, no music. Just a text overlay. They buried two. I dig them both. London isn't ready. The fandom cracked. Who is Echo trended for 14 hours. #SK2 shot back up the charts. Even Spotify streams of old protest poetry playlists jumped 900%. People were digging into archives, searching for mentions of a female accomplice, witness, or activist linked to Sean Kearns. And then, someone found her. Her name, Elsie Moore, a former student activist, known in underground circles as the Archivist. Disappeared in late 2019, last seen at a protest outside the Scottish Parliament. Her name had been scrubbed from school records, blacklisted from publications, and never appeared in media again. Until now. So now, the equation had changed. This wasn't just about Kendrick and Sean anymore. This was about a network. Two voices erased, one stage to bring them back. And here's the kicker. Elsie or Echo was the true source behind the QR code. She was the one who left the cassette outside Kendrick's Berlin hotel room. Weeks before Glasgow, Kendrick's team never revealed that. They let it play out, and now it's about to play tape 2, live in London, and according to insiders, it's not just a poem, it's a list. A list of what? People, places, programs. A map of silence. If Kendrick plays it, he's not just confronting a country, he's naming names. Security has now doubled. The venue is under lockdown. Police are calling it a potential national security risk. And Kendrick just posted one final message. Before the show, echoes don't die in silence. See you in the noise. You just witnessed it. Not a concert, not a leak, but a movement being born in real time. Kendrick Lamar didn't just change Glasgow. He cracked open an entire system, one that silences, buries, and erases. First, there was Sean. Now, Echo. And tomorrow, who's next? We're turning it over to you. Do you believe Kendrick has uncovered a hidden network of voices that were deliberately silenced? Do you think the UK government knows more than they're admitting? Or do you think this is all part of a larger plan Kendrick's been building for years? Drop your theories in the comments right now. Is Echo really Elsie Moore? What's on tape 2? Who else was on the list? Hit like if you believe Kendrick's doing what no other artist has dared. Hit comment if you think this movement is just beginning. And subscribe because part 2. It's coming. And this time, Kendrick isn't just dropping names. He's going to expose the entire mechanism. The institutions, the censorship. The invisible walls built around art, race, and resistance. This isn't a story you'll watch. It's a story you'll be part of. So buckle up, because if tape 1 shook a city, tape 2 might bring the whole empire down. We'll see you in London, and we won't be silent.